Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro. Some movies are elevated by their cast, and some films simply have such an emotionally profound and raw subject matter that they simply require the best actors available. And Silver Linings Playbook is one of those movies. Greetings, Designing Hollywood movie fans and beyond. I am your host, Oliver Ricketts. 2012 was an excellent year for movies. Blockbusters that redefined the modern day summer box office, including The Dark Knight Rises and, of course, the original Avengers film. Meanwhile, some contemporary classics also hit theaters during awards season, including Tarantino's Django Unchained, the movie version of Les Miserables, and even Skyfall. And in the midst of this incredible year for movies, one tiny little movie about a dance competition grabbed movie fans' attention when it received 8 Academy Awards nominations, including one for Best Picture. That movie was, of course, Silver Linings Playbook. And what gave this charming little romance movie the staying power and gravitas to compete with some award season giants like Ben Affleck's Argo, Steven Spielberg's Lincoln? Well, not only is it every bit as likable as either of those films, but it's also just so relatable, no matter who you are or what your walk of life is. To me, this movie is at its best when it's a raw, real look at mental illness and the effect it can have on somebody's life, their relationships with their family and their friends, how they see themselves. This is done in a way that never feels precious. Granted, at times it does feel meandering, but it is always real life. Sometimes Silver Linings Playbook makes you laugh, and still other times it makes you cry. But it is always a slice of life film that is sure to make you reflect on your own experiences in the way all great movies should. And hopefully, like some great movies, it can even help you grow as a person. And folks, if you've ever connected to a movie on this level, and all you want to do is talk about films, then you're in the right place. Here on the Designing Hollywood YouTube channel, we talk about movies all the time, creating tons of film-related content, whether it be these reviews where I talk about movies both new and old, and take deep dives into why I love them, or the Designing Hollywood podcast, where we interview industry professionals behind some of the films that you love. If you are a film fan, you'd never want to miss it, so you're going to want to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any of this excellent content. Silver Linings Playbook is also one of those films that has just grown with me with age. I revisit it every couple of years, and each time I do revisit it, I actually get something different out of it. Every single time, it evokes different emotions in me, but it still always leaves me emotionally fulfilled, no matter who I find most identifiable on that viewing. On the first watch, I found it to be a charming little piece with an uplifting ending, but then on a second viewing some years later, I was filled with melancholy and sadness. Maybe because of that scene where Bradley Cooper is having an episode and he wakes up his elderly parents, and just Dinero really breaks your heart. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to help. And it gets you. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And I suppose some of that comes with the territory that I saw this movie originally as a teenager, and since I've been rewatching it, I've become an adult. And an adult who's very well versed in film and film study. But there's also something really special about a movie like that that can grow up with you and offer you something new every time. You mature as it gets older. But it just takes a special movie to be able to do that. And I think one of the secret ingredients that sets this movie apart from other films that try to talk about mental illness and sometimes come off as a little preachy is that this movie never talks down to you. It's much more of a Goodwill Hunting approach to mental illness. Because much like that classic, this movie maintains its status as a comedy all the way till the end, while still having some truly gut-wrenching moments and never becoming a fantasy film that doesn't feel real. And that, of course, brings me to our question of the day. A time when us film fans can talk amongst ourselves about certain movies that we find to be special. And today's question of the day is, what movie do you think of when you think of mental health? There's a lot of them from all different genres, whether that be a psychological thriller or a comedy like Silver Linings Playbook? No matter what it is, I want to hear about it in the comments below. Silver Linings Playbook revolves around Pat Solitano, a man with bipolar disorder, who returns home after a stint in a mental institution. Intent on winning back his estranged wife, Pat forms an unlikely bond with a young widow named Tiffany, who offers to help him if he agrees to be her partner in a dance competition. Through their turbulent journey, they find solace, healing, and unexpected love amidst their personal struggles and eccentricities. And the best thing about Silver Linings Playbook in general is of course the charm of the entire cast. And if we push our mind back, this is probably the first time that I heard Jennifer Lawrence's name in the context of people being really excited about her. This is the same year that Katniss Everdeen first hit our screens in the original Hunger Games film, and the year that she took the stage and became one of the main talking points of the Academy Awards ceremony.
Category for Winter's Bone.
And from this film, of course, she'd go on to be so many different huge roles, including my personal favorite iteration of Mystique in the X-Men films. Sorry, Rebecca Roman. I'm deeply sorry.
I'm sorry, my dear. You're not one of us anymore.
Even last year, Jennifer Lawrence's charm and charisma continues to elevate films, with last summer's delightful No Hard Feelings, which took the year's award for I didn't know I would love this movie as much as I did. I didn't even know I would like it. But I think that public affinity for Jennifer Lawrence may have actually started with this movie. Because in Silver Linings Playbook, her character Tiffany would be a very easy one to dislike in the hands of a lesser performer. On paper, she is not likable. And so often the script just leaves you flat out frustrated with her. But something about Jennifer Lawrence's just general Jennifer Lawrence-ness seeps through that character and makes you instantly attached to her. This performance makes her lovable, even when sometimes her actions do not. In a lot of ways, the audience's relationship with this character is also how we see some real people struggling with mental illnesses like bipolar disorder. You love them and you want to support them. You want to help them live the best life they can and overcome some of these struggles, but the struggles themselves sometimes make them very frustrating to deal with. I don't think I've ever seen another movie get that quite like this movie gets it. At least not a mainstream studio film. Speaking of support systems, is there a character in this movie that feels more real world than Robert De Niro? In my humble opinion, this is the best De Niro performance since his prime, playing an elderly parent who is struggling to connect with their adult child and help them. There's just something so genuine about how De Niro plays this character that reminded me of my father, and I'm sure plenty of other audience members felt the same, whether it be their relationship with their parents or even their relationship with their children. It's that kind of performance that seeps into the audience and gives you something to latch onto and really care about that helps you carry through the rest of the film. And films like this and last year's Killers of the Flower Moon remind you of why De Niro was ever considered to be one of the best to ever do it. But of course, a great deal of this movie's watchability is placed on the shoulders of Bradley Cooper. From the very moment that we see him released from a mental facility at the beginning of the film, all the way to watching him mourn and grieve and accept the loss of his prior relationship. In a way, this character's personal growth is the sole force of momentum that pushes us through this movie. And when you watch Bradley Cooper disappear into this character, it becomes more and more of a mystery as to why he's never actually won an Academy Award, despite having 12 nominations, including one as Best Lead Actor of Silver Linings Playbook. Silver Linings Playbook is also a snapshot of the contemporary real world, and that is of course in no small part due to not only the script, but the set design and the costume design. Every piece you see worn in this movie feels like something you've seen in real life. It helps you feel grounded, and it helps you connect to the people in this movie, even if the clothing on display is not overly flashy. Sometimes great costuming is like great editing, where you don't always notice it. It's more subliminal, and it helps with your immersion in a movie. And even if you don't always notice it, when it's not done right, it is sorely missed. And so the realism on display here can at least in part be attributed to costume designer Mark Bridges. And Designing Hollywood actually had the pleasure of sitting down with Mark Bridges himself to discuss not only this movie, but his extensive career as a costume designer. All in all, Silver Linings Playbook is not just a slice-of-life romantic comedy. It also functions as a serious look at the realities of mental health, and it is 100% worthy of all of the accolades that continue to be thrown at it. Be sure to subscribe and like this video so you don't miss out on any of our great movie-related content. And if you love film and you live in Southern California, be sure to check out our sponsor, Gardena Cinema, and their wide selection of movies playing in their theater all the time. Check out their schedule on Instagram or on their website, both linked in the description, and find a film that'll make for a nice night out for you. For Designing Hollywood, I'm Oliver Ricketts, and until next time, get out there and go see a movie.